Number 7, Jacqui Dean.
Thank you, Mr.
Order.
Speaker.
Order. I've called Jacqui Dean.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Civil Defence and asks, what is the update on civil defence and emergency management operations in Canterbury?
Honourable John Carter.
Mr. Speaker, the 7.1 earthquake in Canterbury on Saturday morning was one of the most significant natural disastrous events in New Zealand's history. It is incredible that in the initial quake there was no loss of life. I have travelled to Canterbury 3 times since Saturday, and the uncertainty for people in the area is exacerbated by ongoing aftershocks, some of them quite severe and with the potential to further damage buildings. The House may be interested to know there's been 284 aftershocks and 6 of them over 5.3. The Government is working with the local government authorities involved to ensure Canterbury is restored to a business-as-usual situation as quickly as possible. Many government agencies are now involved. However, 69% of the downtown business in Christchurch have now been cleared. Both central and local government are operating in accordance with the plans under the Civil Defence Emergency Management Act. This Act was developed to deal with exactly this kind of situation and is working as it should be. New Zealand is vulnerable to natural disasters, and I believe we have one of the best processes in the world in place to manage them. We are on day 5 of this significant event. The situation changes sometimes hourly. There are states of emergency in place, and this will continue while it was necessary to ensure the safety and security of the people of Canterbury. Part of the problem we're finding, Mr. Speaker, is a house that may have been declared safe yesterday as a consequence of aftershock is found not to be today. The recovery phase has begun, but due to extensive damage through the 3 regions affected by this earthquake and its aftershocks, that is Selwyn, Waimakariri and Christchurch, recovery will take time. Everyone on the ground in Canterbury is working as fast as they can to restore the essential services, and no one is being ignored or forgotten. This is a huge exercise.
Jacqui Dean.
To the Minister, how are the civil defence and emergency management operations in Canterbury coping?
The Honourable John Carter.
Mr. Speaker, I'm very proud to say that the response in Canterbury has been fantastic. Civil Defence emergency management personnel are working around the clock to respond to the many demands the 7.1 earthquake and ongoing aftershocks are presenting. The Office of Help have been incredible, and the Civil Defence emergency management sector is coordinating both the Office of Help and requests for help. This is a huge job. The 3 mayors of the region, Ron Keating, Calvin Coe and Bob Parker, have shown true leadership. It is important for all stakeholders to know that Civil Defence is the lead agency in this response and recovery. All statements and activities should be coordinated with Civil Defence. A Canterbury CDM group is coordinating external support with the assistance of the National Crisis Management Centre in Wellington. Today, a number of building inspectors are being sourced from elsewhere to supplement the existing capacities in Christchurch, with additional sewage repair teams being mobilised from outside the Canterbury region. Importantly, the people of Canterbury are responding really positively despite the stress of repeated shocks. Volunteers have been out doing all sorts of things to help this people affected by this disaster. Students have mobilised themselves, and I must say the people of Canterbury make us proud to be New Zealanders, Mr. Speaker.
Jacqui Dean.
Supplementary to the Minister. So what are the issues we need to address as we go forward?
Honourable John
Mr.
Carter.
Speaker, there are many. Quite honestly, this recovery is going to be months rather than weeks, but I think there are 2 things that we need to focus on in the early stages, and that is there has already been use made by a number of people in our welfare areas, but it's very likely that this demand will grow as there are people who have been taken in by friends and families around the region, but of course their stays as the weeks go by will tend to cause them difficulties and problems, and it means that our welfare centres are likely to come under more and more demand and more pressure, and indeed it may well be that we'll have to establish more than we have. Secondly, the thing that we all need to understand is that this has caused a huge pressure on everybody in Christchurch. The trauma that people are under, the challenges, the personal effect it has had on people is just hard to believe unless you've been there or in fact experienced it. The problem we have is that the aftershocks are likely to go on, as I've said, extensively, maybe for longer than 2 months. In the area, the Haiti earthquake, they had a 0.6 aftershock a week later. In the Mexico earthquake, they had a 0.6 aftershock 2 months later. So it's likely that they will continue on for some time. Each time there's an aftershock, it causes more stress and alarm. There are people who are not sleeping. There are children who are not sleeping. Mr. Speaker, we need to be aware that there are major issues about people's lives that we will have to deal with as we go forward.
Question number 8, the Honourable Trevor Mallard.